Good afternoon, at least here in Waverly, Ohio. Welcome to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. And why is it in What's in My Drawers? It's because old club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and we find out what's in my drawer so we can talk about it. However, that's grown into quite the discussion that's gone around the world, which is pretty good. And we're going to keep continuing the trend until we don't have anybody watching, I suppose. And that's what we're going to do. So typically, we talk about what it is that I've done for the week, who's won, golf talk opinions, repair questions, fitting questions, the whole 9 yards. And today is not going to be any different. We like to maybe we'll give a shout out to the Masters because it was a Masters weekend, right? Masters weekend, and so this is my green. That's my contribution to to it. And we're going to say congratulations to Hideki Matsuyama, right? What a day! What a day! I got to watch the last part of that, and I'm here to tell you, had he not had that big old lead that he had, that could have been a different game altogether. But then again, if Xander Schauffele wouldn't have thrown one in the drink right after all that problem occurred, we may not have had we may have a different guy. Also, how about a guy named Will Zalatoris? That guy has just he got all kinds of notoriety, right? And he reminds me of the blonde-headed actor that's out there that played on the Asteroid movie, and does mostly comedy. Has the nose that's all kind of wrinkled up. Kind of reminds me of him. It was kind of funny. So at the beginning, what do? We talk about not only that, but who came in, who survived it. Adam Scott shot a +1 on the final day to end up +11. That's pretty impressive. He didn't have a very good third round, I believe. And that's what really cost him. And then I got to throw out a little bit of lefty love since that's the way it's going to be. And right in the middle of the pack at 21, my buddy Phil Mickelson shot an even round and ended even. How about that? So not too bad overall. Okay. So normally it's where I tell you what I built, but instead I'm going to tell you what I'm going to build. Because we sent out Mizuno, we sent out Srixon, we sent out Wilson for sure. We sent out Callaway by the cartload. And it's been a very beginning to the golf year for us. And so far, so good. The stuff that we told you was sent to Canada went to Canada. And so far, the results are positive. Did a reshaft for a local guy that's a very talented amateur, and we reshafted or redid his Mizunos. I've shown you that before, and he's got a driver and he needed something in the driver, and we ended up going with the FX 2.0 in the green. No, I'm sorry, in the red. That's the more stout shaft now, and you remember me showing you those. He no more than took it away, and he's got a simulator in his house, and that's where he does his testing, and called back minutes later and said it was dead on. Not bad for a guess. So what are we going to build? It seems it's going to be a left-handed love kind of fest. I got that. Apparently Wilson Staff's left-handed varieties are available, so we've got another set of CBs with some wedges going out. And we also have the D9s going out. So not too bad. We're going to build those here in a little bit, and we're going to throw those out. Also, what I got in, and we talked about the driver shafts, we're talking the OEMs have been struggling quite hard, honestly, in order to catch up. And Wilson and all the rest of them are no different, and after their release, I finally got those. All right, I got that one, and I got that one. So I got the lefties and the righties. Lefties, you get a 10-5. Righties, you get 9, 10, 5, and 13. But I just think that they've just outdone themselves with the way that this looks. All right, it's not as indented as one would think. It's pretty straight there. But the cosmetics on this thing are just impressive. And not only that, but the way it looks at a dress. You can even see my screen in the reflection. So not too bad. Now, is it a world beater? Probably not. Probably not. But is it going to be a bang for the buck kind of thing? And I'm going to say, yeah, it should be there. So I just got them prepared, and I'm going to prepare the new FX, and we're going to try and see whether or not new shafts make a difference in new clubs. And that's where it's going to be. So that's where we go with that. Another one I wanted to talk about is I have seen some fairly extraordinary stuff happen with the new Epic line in the drivers for Callaway. And I want to share some of this with you. Now, the reason being, and amongst a lot of things, but I think it's this. And this is that new jailbreak, or they call the cage or the H-frame or the jailbreak frame in there. And if you get to see, let's do it like that. There you go. That's how it attaches to the bottom. And you can't really, I can't get you up in there, but there you go. That's how it attaches to the top. So that's what those 4 dots are on the bottom, is how that attaches there. And because of this, it allows a little bit more distribution of forgiveness. We'll call it distribution of forgiveness, as that's the case. And the AI design face, it's the SS21, I think, call it flash face. But there's the key. You put that with that, and I think you have a real winner. Now, why am I hyping on this so much? Well, a couple of things. I know you would see badging, and it sits in there, and that's a removal of weight, right? It sits in there like, I got it upside down. There we go. Sits in there like that. And that's a removal of weight so that you can, not unwittingly, but you can passively make this into a draw bias type club. And of course, they've got the triaxial weave stuff. So,
John from Callaway's on watching.
Oh, he is? Well, look at that. He's digging on that, isn't he? So what have I seen? All right. Number one is the shape of this guy is different than the shape of the other two. And so what we get confused with is that you might see this and there's like 3 of the same club and in lofts. We might confuse the idea of different lofted drivers with different model drivers if they have the same name, much like that guy. All right, and that's the reason why they say Epic Speed, Epic Max LS. Okay, so and stay with me, because this is going into I got a whole train of thought going, and not to be confused with this stuff yet. So you have this, and so the Epic Speed is designed for a specific type player, or somebody looking for a specific kind of forgiveness or a specific kind of shape. And once you have all the right parameters, length, lie, loft, flex, weight, all that stuff, and you get it in here, you can turn this into a really good driver. Now, that can be said for a lot of these things, a lot of these other companies, but the confusion is where I'm getting to. Now, the speed, if you look at, what was it I just read? My Golf Spy said it was for slower swing speeds at 90 mile an hour or less. Dude, I'm here to tell you, if you got 95 or whatever and you're not looking at this, you're making a mistake. All right, so there's my soapboxy part of it. However, what am I seeing? All right, the Max is the draw bias club. There's a little bit more weight in the bottom. It has a slider. It wants to make it go to your inside, lefty or righty. Now, the Max LS. The Max LS is more of what was the Sub-Zero of the Maverick family. It is the low spinner, and it is. All right, and normally people will claim low spin, and they don't deliver. And I am a high spin guy, and so I get really, really sensitive to people that say, oh, this is low spin, like a low spinning shaft, right? So what do we do with that? And so we tested, right? And I have the Maverick Sub-Zero, and I put the same exact shaft in it, so we were just testing the technology in the head, all right, the technology in the head. And I did this because I was doing the testing on the Maverick LS, and I saw this stupendous drop in spin, and I thought, oh, it's got it. Let's check it out. So I put my other shaft in it, the one I typically use, and the same thing occurred. I dropped between 800 and 1,000 RPM. And I thought, wow, that's really great. But it's becoming a norm, all right? I had a young man in here that had 120 mile an hour swing speed. Yeah, I'm not kidding, 120. And we put that in there, hit his gamer, hit a couple other clubs, in the speed and that kind of stuff. Go to the LS, and there goes the spin. Dropped it right out of the bucket. And when you drop spin, you not only get a little bit more run, but the ball flight's a little bit better too. It's a lot less erratic. Now, I don't get as low as the knuckleballing stuff at 1,500 or even less, but he was hitting that sweet spot, 120 with 2,400 RPM, 2,200 RPM. It was amazing. And he was out there. He was out carrying. If we could have kept him in the directional area or get him a little bit more height, which I think that would have been with the T, that he was carrying past 300. I was thinking that we could probably reach 310. And I think what was really holding him back was the comfort of the grip, right? He was holding on pretty tight to the grip because he had larger hands and needed a larger grip so he could actually loosen up a little bit and allow you to get through it. But he was killing it, okay? Absolutely killing it. And he was doing very, very well with it, which leads me into my next thing for fitting. Now, so he's 120. You're thinking, oh, that's a 2X kind of shaft. Well, not really. We had him in the Smoke X60. And when people see speed that's like this, the high speed, the 115s, the 120s, that kind of stuff, and you watch him swing, you go, wow, this guy's really aggressive. No, he's just really fast. All right, and that's just like watching those guys on TV. You get to see some of them, and they're all swinging in that neighborhood in the 115 to 125 category, and you look and you see if they're all swinging in that same swing speed, but some don't look like they're really swinging that hard, and then others just look like they're just trying to drive a nail with a hammer. That's the differences in techniques and loading and whether or not you need different shafts and all those kinds of things that go into a fitting. All right, that's what goes into fitting. This young man was very, very smooth and allowed that to happen. Taking me into, we did a fitting on irons, and I thought I had him dialed in, and it was with, I had him in some Mizunos, and just crushing the ball. Absolutely crushing it. Had him down to right. However, we said, well, let's try another one. I put him in a Callaway, the Apex Pro, but I had him in a 95S, okay? 95S, and you think, well, Jim, this is no way he's going to keep it on the plane. Well, he did. He did, and he made a target landing about this big, carrying a 7-iron over 200 yards, all right, and doing it straight. Now, the thing with the miss, though, the miss could get a little bit off, but as a whole, he was killing it. And unfortunately, that combination doesn't exist with Callaway, John. And that's so we had to beef up the shaft a little bit, which I don't think it's going to bother him too much, but we had to beef it up some. And so now we have a very good set for a young man that this is one of those cases where a young man's been held back by his equipment because it was either not fitted or ill-fitted. And so that's it. So there's my soapbox for the day and where we're going for the fittings, and we're going to do a review. Now, to keep moving along, the video for this the video for tomorrow that will be released is my worst repair volume 3. And it was going to be on some Mizunos that are Japanese editions. So if you want to see, and it's a fairly basic repair, but you can see how it can get really ugly if you don't have the right tools. Okie dokie. And so that, let's keep an eye on that one. And then for my own personal, let's feed the advertiser, which is me. Aprons, right? USA made aprons in the larger, extra large variety. You get to see it back over here. I got it sitting out, and they're actually pretty nice. And again, I keep saying it, but I keep washing them, and they keep getting softer. Now, you guys asked about these, and I finally got them in. Let me show you. I got the towel. All right, I got the tour towel. These are made by Club Glove. They're the caddy towel, and that's exactly what they're from. So these have the hole in the middle, so that's what they'll sit on in a club on your bag, right? And then they come with, this is their little extra package. Okay, so and it comes with a smaller version of it for free. And what it is, most people will wet this down and they will use that to clean their golf balls with. You can leave it in the back of the basket or hanging off to the side. So what the hole's for, again, is that if you had a golf club on your bag, it would hang like that. And it would sit in there like this, and it would hang off your bag. So you don't have the, those hooks and stuff. Especially if you're a carrier or whatever, you don't have any hooks, so there's nothing to snag, right? So we've got the blue with the red around it, and then I've got red on red for those guys that like red, and then I've got black on black, right? And these are pretty long towels too. They're they stretch quite a ways. And what I've seen, and the reason why I found it, I was watching the memorial, and I was watching these guys with these very towels, and they would go by a bucket, and they would dunk half of it in a bucket of water and wring it out, and that's what they use to clean the clubs with that you see on TV. And the other half stays dry, so they don't get a completely wet shoulder. And then I got a gray one. And it's kind of funny that normally this camera doesn't quite get the colors right, but it's doing pretty good now. And then for me, here we go, last bit of the Masters. Now this one's not being cut, but green on green. Let's see if I can. It is a lighter green, but it's not that light. All right, so there you go. Whew. So there's all the advertising, all the videoing, all the let's talk about stuff. Let's get to answering some questions. All right. Northwich, Cheshire, UK. Lockdown rules are beginning to be relaxed as of today, and hopefully they will be lifted June 21. Well, good for you guys. I'm glad I've been seeing where they've been getting out. Now, your weather hasn't been all that best, but it's been good. Good for you, though. All right, Charles, way to go, buddy. Oh, by the way, here we go. Salute, and if Phil's coming on, there we go. There's more of the 14. There we go. All right, now we can get it here. Buddy Matt, we're saying 7177. Hey, I say what I did. I got out with my dad. He rides along with me, and he's a good coach. He keeps me in the moment, and I shot what I call a fake 79, and the reason why it's fake is because they aerated the greens, and basically I took liberty with, if I was within a ball diameter of the hole, I counted it because of the pam 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 and the dropping. However, if I was outside of it, I putted it out. So it was kind of both ways, and then we did it. So pretty good, bud. Charles, 40 on the front, 30 on the back with the new irons. Nice. Charles, you started looking at the scorecard, didn't you? That's typically what happens. Oh, my. There's Brendan. How are you, sir? Hopefully things are undoing, I believe, in Ireland. John for South Carolina. Well done. Thank you, John. Brendan, he's looking to change his shaft on his Yes Cali putter. What diameter do I need? What you recommend? So I was right, in Ireland. Good. I used to deal in Yes putters, and the Cali was one of my faves, actually. I'm trying to remember if it was I can't remember if it was an over the hosel putter or not. So here, I'll give you a kind of what I think it might be. So if the shaft itself doesn't make it into the clubs, there's going to be a post, and the shaft goes over the top of it, and that's called the over the hosel putter shaft. And what it typically does, it has a little flare at the bottom, and it's just a small one. And that's enough so that it gets over the peg that's on the putter, and then sits down on a ring or a ferrule, and then so it seats, so it has a much kind of a cosmetic appearance. Now sometimes you can get away with a regular shaft if you cut it just a little bit and then it slides over and you get the same thing without getting a flare. However, not all putters are created equal. Now the other one is, if for a like a plumber's neck or a mallet putter where it inserts into the body of the putter, typically it's a 370 and it's just a straight fit. The only one that it really doesn't do that is Scotty. Scotty doesn't do that. His are more of a taper tip or you have to press fit them in there. Ping does especially older ones, Ping does a parallel and a 370, but they use a ball. They used to use a ball bearing in there that would press it in, and it would press it in there, and then that's what you would get from that. So you got to check, make sure it's either over the hosel or a 370. You'd be good to go. Mike from Buffalo, D3 tourney 77, big improvement from last week. Well, you were playing in snow last week, weren't you? I hope so. All right, 77. Now you're getting in there. A few more strokes, buddy, and I bet you're in there. So what did 77 get you in the tournament? Let's kind of gauge the quality of the folks that you're playing against. Jim and Robin, hope you're safe and well. Did you enjoy the Masters? Most certainly did. Most certainly did. And, the course is always in phenomenal shape. And everybody, and I really like watching it I now like watching it on the internet, because you get that Masters app and you can, if you got a big enough screen, so what I do is I'll take my iPad and I'll share it to a bigger screen, and then you can, have featured group, regular group, or a whole, and get all this in together. And if you don't cross your eyes, it's a lot of information to take in. It's really cool to see. But that's where we're at. What question? What brand of putter do you rate the most and why? And thanks. Right now, just because they have a plethora of designs, Dave, is the Odyssey, and it's very, very well known. It's a very, very popular one. If you listen to their marketing, they are the number one putter on the tour, and that's via usage, and that's very, very true. If you look, everybody's using one of those things, and I think what really, really helped them was that Stroke Lab shaft. Could be that, or it could be the S-neck, so that the players could use mallets and still have the swingy door kind of thing. So another one I also like using, or comes in a very close second, is that new Mizuno milled. I really like them as well, only because you have this customizing option that it comes with. It comes with a kit with 2 3-gram weights and 2 13-gram weights, and what's in them is an 8. So you can mix and match and get a really good custom fit for that. And they're milled putters, and they actually feel really good. Now they come in a very bright, shiny silver, which they come in a really cool black, which I like, and then they come in the blue, the Mizuno blue color. And although I'm not a blue fan, it's kind of neat looking, but I'm not a blue fan. And at least in a putter. That's where we go. So those are the ones. Now, there are other ones out there. I particularly like Peretti. I like them. They do a very, very good job. And there's other ones out there. Now, in your neck of the woods, there's a fellow that it's called. He's in Ireland, and he does a very, very good job. I don't think he's considered getting into the component side of it, but you might get to send me an email and I'll get you the name for it. But it's a Gaelic name for number one or something like that. And but it's a really neat looking putter. There's a couple of them out there. There's Willard. Yes, it was. I was able to sneak out on Sunday in between the rain showers, and we got up early enough and got home, and then the rain cometh, man. Christopher, hello, sir. Matthew, glad you like it. Hopefully I explained what the hole in the middle of the towel's for. Gloomy Michigan. Well, it's not. Well, it was gray. It's blue now. I wish I could get that to where it's not so blown out. Hit the course today. Sure need work on shaping. Here I tell you what, the short game is the last thing to show up and the first thing to leave in my instance. Now, I will say that I figured some stuff out chipping this last time, and it was all that stuff you see them doing on there, that weight forward kind of thing, and this is close chipping. When I started doing it, started working, I thought, are you kidding me? Internet lessons actually did work. Don't put much stock in it, but that one worked, so good for them. There's John. That's my Callaway rep. Well done, mister. Thank you for showing up. Steven! The chef should be on its way to you. And it'll be, I think you're going to enjoy it. Doug from Florida checking in. Good, Doug. How are you today? Steven's in the market for a putter. The Axis one that Rose is using, that's kind of a neat concept. The Adele or a Lab 2. What are your thoughts? Well, the Axis is the Axis balance is more of that target line balancing thing, and I do tend to like that in a putter. You just have to get past the weird bend in the shaft. If you can do that, and you being a label sensitive guy, that might not be where you want to go. Adele is an excellent putter, and that man, if you're gonna drop all that coin on it, Steven, go find a guy that does it up there and have him send in the order, because there's a lot to it. There really, really is. And the guy they're doing it right have their fitting kits, and you can try different necks on different heads with different lengths and all kinds of stuff, and just get completely 100% dialed in, particularly what you're going to pay for that one. I mean, you really are. And then the Lab 2, if I think I know what the Lab B2, the one I think you're talking about, is it the one that looks like a Egyptian sign? And it does have like a target balance type thing. I do like it. It's a bit gaudy, but it does work. It does swing easy. And I wouldn't have any problem with that one either. Now, that one you could probably get away with because the colors are benign. They're muted with the black, and I don't think you get to see it so much. Camilio, how are you, sir? Duke, what do you think? Who do you think the profile for the Fujikura Red S6S is? Well, Duke, I am not a huge Fuji fan, but normally their colorings, if it's red, So the 6S is weight and flex. Red is typically profile. And if I'm correct, they normally have white and black and red. And the red, I believe, is middle of the road. So I would say your average golfer type, at least that's what they say, however, with a bit more aggressive release. And that's probably where that goes. Now, that's on average, right? I don't know what that would mean for anybody else, but Fuji's designs typically are more but aggressive, meaning that they're harder for a guy, for the guy that really pulls or the guy that really releases. It's a great shaft. If you're a caster or something like that, you may not enjoy it as much. All right. We have an old Callaway Heavenwood 9. Nice. It's a bore through. Yes, it would be. Would it be possible to reshaft it with a steel shaft? I saw where you made it. Mike, I can do it if we can find a steel shaft. Therein lies the problem. It's not that I can't do it. It's the fact that I may not be able to do it for the parts. Okay, and then it depends on what you're looking for. I might have one or two left. I'd have to go look. Again, what's in my drawers? What's in my drawers? I know I've got some that were made for the Woodwood area, like the 277s and stuff like that. But I don't know about the 335s. That's going to be tough. We'll have to take a look. But send us an email at mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com, and as a reminder, and that will make me go look. And then we'll go from there. And we'll try. And give me an idea of what kind of flex you're looking for as well. And do that. Now, to keep in mind, most of those shafts in that time period were probably around 110-ish, right? They were 110-ish. So if that doesn't work, we can find something heavy in the right flex for you. Maybe that might work. That's going to be a chore too. But let me look around. And if not, there's a place called, I believe it's Golf Shafts USA, and they might actually have some as well. There's John being the Callaway rep right there. Seb, how are you, sir? What is the purpose of a counterbalance shaft? Well, it would be my opinion, Seb, to a couple of things. One is the idea of a counterbalance is that it's on a teeter-totter effect, right? So if this is the butt side, that it means that the balance point has been moved back so that it feels heavier on this particular side, so that when you put it back, that there's a little bit more feeling back here. And when that happens, it stabilizes the takeaway so that you can get down and through it. Also, if you really want to go back there with counterbalancing itself, where they used to put weight in the back, because they used to do that for Nicklaus in the day. They'd put a little plug in there, a wooden plug, glue it in, and then drill out a piece of it, and then pour molten lead into it until they got to their mount, and then grip it. And that was because, now watch what he does. He gets way to the top, has that pause, bam, and pulls down. And it causes him to make this turn, and you gain a little club head speed. It's been turned into a long drive extra speed tip. Went to a fitter to test iron shafts and ended up ordering a new recoil 110 F4. Golfer's elbow. Didn't you have that last year? I thought you had some of that last year. You must be doing a lot of swinging. And the recoil will help you out on that, man. The graphite is a tremendous shock absorber, and that's a good thing. And if you can find something that is in your weight category, F4 and the 110, I am here to tell you, will stay with you, for you. And it's made for a guy like you for sure. There's Dave. Have you ever fit any Tour Edge golf equipment? I've been seeing a lot advertised lately. I approached those guys about 2 years ago, and they have a very, very, very efficient, very nice setup when it comes to golf gear. Their system is second to none when from an efficiency point of view. But no, I haven't gone any further than that. You either have in the Tour Edge, right? And Tour Edge is two separate models. Tour Edge is what you see, kind of, we'll call it golf in a bag kind of stuff. And then you have their exotic line. And the exotic line is what really started the whole very expensive 3-wood, that kind of stuff. And now the Tour Edge stuff is started very, very basic. The gap was very, very wide, and they're starting to get smaller. The Tour Edge is starting to edge up. Not to say that's good. It's not good gear. It is, to be sure. I just don't have a lot of experience with it. There's Joe. Joe's the man who works on airplanes. Question of the week. Over the years of your building career, have you built many sets? What build stands out? I've built tons of sets. Stands out most to you, and why? Well, you always have the one that goes the smoothest. Just like on a repair, you take it all apart and you put it back together, and you're like, wow, what did I do wrong? Because it went together really, really quick and really, really well. I've had a couple of those where CPMs are dead on, no fluctuation. All the weights are dead on, no fluctuation, all the way top to bottom. And it's fun, but that stands out. You're just like, wow, that was a really good build. And then you have the ones that you just absolutely fight. For instance, like again, working on a mechanical piece where you can't get that nut on, and you know it's the right one and it doesn't want to fit, or you can't get into the right spot, or for me it would be the weights seem to be right, but the flexes are just all over the map, and I've thrown some shafts away and started over for that matter. And but to date, the one that stands out for me is I had a young man who was part of the Ohio State basketball team, went pro. Name was JB, and he's 7'1". And I had to make special fitting clubs just for him because he was so tall. And then making the golf clubs was a particular challenge because they had to be so long and still maintain all that flex. And that was where you really, really had to do some thinking and grinding, and I got through it, so not too bad. And it's funny that you asked that, and I say that because here in a couple of days I have a fitting with another 7-footer. This ought to be interesting to see. We ought to be pretty good. And when I told you about I got the new net, right? I got the new net. Well, I got the projector up. Hey, let me take you on a tour of this. And let's see if I can get it up there. There it is. It's going to be a little bit, there's going to be too much light. But you see that little white gizmo right there? That's the projector. So it's up and it's going. So that's not too bad. I'm happy about that. That's it's pretty good. I really like that. I'm still working on the sizing. It started out and it wrapped all the way around the net. If I had more of that stuff on the side, it would have been really cool to see, but it was projecting itself onto the wall. So I'm slowly but surely cranking it in. And I have hit it, and it's really neat that when you hit it and it hits, and then the line takes off. So it should be all right. Phil from Austin, what do you say, buddy? All right, if I change my grips from Golf Pride standard aligns to +4s, mid-size, would swing weight change be noticeable? I'm a new age sensitive guy after all. Nice. Yes, there will be. It should be around, I think they're running around in the high 40s, and the mid-size run around the low to mid 50s. So you're going to see probably 2 swing weight point changes, maybe 2.5. And again, most people wouldn't notice that. So honestly, I would just put them on, swing them, and see if you get comfy with them first. And then if not, then it's a little lead tape on the bottom and you're good to go. All in Austin. Al did the big D9 test. Oh, we got the big D9 test tomorrow. The club's. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like them. We sent Al some of the D9s, these guys, and went through it pretty good. Hopefully they were good for you, man. I do like them. I think they're a good little club. Oh, from Facebook, here we go, Stephen. First from Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro. There we go. I knew I'd get it. Murfreesboro. Tennessee. Reshafted my Wilson Launchpad irons. And yes, I had one club that had a head fly off the first time out. Well, you know, we all do that. Clean it, put it back together, and work just fine. Nice. Well done. Question is, I have reshafted my 4-iron. Everything looks fine. The next day I went to clean the ferrule, but noticed a small problem. The hosel was cracked. What would cause the hosel to crack? I didn't have any trouble removing the shaft, so once the torch wasn't working, I went with the heat gun. Oh, I did have some trouble removing the shaft. Cracking the hosel on an iron, Stephen. Let's pull this out a little bit. So, number one, good job on fixing the fault. That's number one. And number two, I have never cracked an iron hosel yet, that I can remember. Okay, well, so if you cracked it. That's a good question. I mean, you know, in order for the heat to really have done any real damage to it, you would have burned through the paint first. Okay, you would have burned through that paint, and in order to get the amount of heat to do any measurable metal damage, and I don't see that happening. The only place I can think of where it might have been an issue is in the removal process. And if something happened in the removal process, or if it was really hot and you dropped it. Now that's guessing, because to crack metal even like that, because it is tough stuff. In fact, hold on a second. All right, so we're talking about this guy. And this is the hosel. Now I got my adapter over top, but I mean this is all fairly stout metal all the way to here, and then this cap is on the back. So if you're cracked in this area up in here, Stephen, that would be a new one. I'd have to see that one. It's pretty impressive to say. And again, the only way I can think of is that it would be messed up is if it was dropped while it was really, really hot, or for some reason there was some abnormal amount of torque applied to it. Ray, what do you say, SoCal? Just curious if you had any chance to try the Mizuno JPX 921 wedges that are for the hot metal line. No, because they're only right-handed. I'm pretty sure they're only right-handed. However, I have prescribed quite a few, and they're really nice. I'm thinking, let me look. Oh no, the other wedges, nope, they do come left-handed. And yes, I have hit those. I thought you were talking about something else, because there is another one out there. I have hit it. It's actually pretty nice. It's their cast version of it, and like last time, I didn't spin it as much as I did the other one, but it's bigger and a little more forgiving. So that's what I like about it. I've been answering a whole bunch of people in here. I got to get back to the top. All right. There we go. Sweet. Yeah. They do make a good towel. They do a pretty good job. I've got, they have a whole luggage line too. Of course, their big thing, the club glove, was the travel bag, right? And that thing is just, it's like making a cocoon around your golf clubs. They do really, really good. But they also have their thing that doesn't get a lot of press is their luggage line. They have a luggage line that's very similar to the tour bag transport. And Robin got me a briefcase version of it, and it's made out. That thing is stout, man. Absolutely stout. It's like one of those you buy one kind of concept, and they do a really good job. Good deal, man. Send an email. Dambonga. All right, what's up? Jack, what do you say? Lumbar checking in, fitted into 921 5 through gap wedge project LZ. What shaft should I look for the Cleveland Rex sandwich? Let's see. The project LZ depends on its weight, but I'm not gonna guess. For any of the wedges, if you're using an LZ, it's kind of the LZ 6.0. That's pretty stout, man. But I do like the LZ shaft. If I was staying in the way of I would look really, really hard at the Nippon, or Nippon as people would call it, Nippon Modus wedge shaft, and depending on the weight of the LZ, either the 105 or the 115. I believe there's a 120, but the 115 is probably one of the better ones. It'll have not the exact profile, but it would fit really, really good with it. And that's where I would look at it. Yes, they are nice. And he likes them too. Good deal. All right. Cameron, what do you say? Got new irons, Sim 2 Maxes, sorry. What did you think of the Masters? Was shocked that the biggest names in golf got cut in the second and third round. And that's why they call it the Masters, Cameron. That golf course will chew you up and spit you out the minute you fall asleep on it. People, the biggest thing that if you listen to there was, the Shark was on there, Nick Price was throwing some stuff out there. Everybody, all these people that were past players, they all said the same thing in different ways. If you try and force a shot out of that place, it will chew you up. It's a rare animal that is successful. Take your lump, get it out there, put it in play, and then walk away with your bogey instead of walking away with your double bogey, because certainly it will eat you. And I think that was what was happening. They were getting a little bit. They forgot some of their lessons that they were taught, and they got 8. But yeah, it just goes to show you, man. These guys are just so good that they're fractions. Each one of them is a fraction from another one. Just down. I mean, right to it. I mean, again, we'll use Mickelson as an example. Dude was +3, ended up being, or -3, went to +3 or some crazy number, just a huge swing, and ended up with even. And he had a really good one round, and then played even Steven golf, and ended up right in the middle, if not above the middle of the pack. And that was a guy that's been struggling for a while. So there you go. No. I don't love it. Steven got one of the towels. Good for you, buddy. I know, you deserve it. Here's Mike answering a question from earlier. I was waiting results from today. Top 5. Nicely done, bud. Nicely done. Reshafting the Nike Square Dynamo 2. Woo-wee. Do you know if the driver head requires a special ferrule? The answer to that is probably yes. I have not seen this driver head. Note shaft and ferrule is not available. You are correct, sir. The Dynamo. All right, let's start over. They had it was a chrome ferrule ring, and it actually, I believe it even had a shoulder in it, and it was wide, and it was a wider one, because the outside of the hosel was wider. The inside not so much, but the outside was. And I can remember running into a handful of them. If you're looking at GolfWorks, no, they will not have that. Again, for some specialty stuff like that, I would get a hold of Billy Bob Farrell's. They're out of California, and if they don't have, they may not have the exact one you're looking for, but they can get you into the ballpark, and go from there. And no, you won't ever, finding OEM shafts, John, unless there's some sort of distributor for them, you're not gonna, because typically they're proprietary to the company, and you won't find that. So you're better off into the aftermarket anyway. Seymour P3. Alrighty. How often do you recommend checking loft and langles? What will make the loft and langles change besides the smack of the ground first? Does heat and cold make a difference? Alright, so two things. Forged, cast, how much you play, and then your typical how you conduct yourself out there. So forged will be more frequently than cast. If you're playing, let's say 3 times a week, I would check the forged at least once every 6 months. Now, cast, you can go once a year, maybe once every other year. And that's to ensure. Now, this is a guy that plays a lot, right? So you want to be in tune, because typically if you're playing a lot, that means you're playing in these courses or in tournaments that really matter. And you want to make sure your stuff is right there. Now, other than the smacking, if you're one of those guys that's a nervous waiting person, so when you're sitting there and you're talking to your buddy and you're pounding the ground, although there's slight taps, after a while that can wear, right? And you're just doing like this and you're talking. If you're like that, that can speed up the process. Throwing it does it. But outside of that, I've not had any notion for heat or cold to just make them change per se. Well, a lot of that may come from when people do bending. It used to be the thing, you heat it up and then you bend it and it'll bend easier. It makes the molecular structure fall into place more. I think that's been proven that that's false, and that was just one of those things that people did in the day just to make themselves feel better. Stephen 180 from Ireland. Thank you guys for checking in from Ireland. So is it Northern Ireland, middle of the island, Southern Ireland? We're getting back. We're seriously planning a Northern Ireland trip, guys. So that we want to get up there and see that neck of the woods and see what's going on. What putter grip is my absolute favorite? Well, right now it's Garson. But if I had to if there was no other one that I couldn't have other than that, right this very moment in time, I would have to go with. I got to think hard on this one. I know Super Stroke is like extraordinarily popular, and I do like its feel. However, I'm more traditional in this nature, except for here I am carrying a Garson, which is far from traditional. But I tend to go with a standard putter style grip, and I like it a little, I like it firmer, but I like it tacky. So something in that nature. So I don't even think they make the thing anymore. It used to be the scary one is that Lampkin made it. It's kind of like the ones that are on the new Odysseys, the gray ones. Those. It's really, they're so basic, but they work, and that's the reason why I like them. But for me, right now, it's the Garson. Oh, here we go. Stamford, Connecticut. Well done, Rodney. Thank you for showing up. John Kelly. Hi, Jim. It's Peter Power Tremor, Waterford, Ireland. Nice. Tremor County, Waterford, Ireland. Nice. Now, I have been to Waterford. Very nice place. Very nice. And thank you for, John, thank you for coming on. Golfing with Dad. There you go. Good job. Is TaylorMade Bigfoot high toe wedge for a mid-handicap golfer? No, it's for any golfer. The high toe is it's a style, right? Everybody's got one. Callaway's got one. TaylorMade's got one. Wilson's got one. They all have these high toes. And honestly, now each one of them is a little different, okay? So let's go over that. The Wilson high toe is got a very wide sole and not very much heel and toe relief. So from a basic, I'm just going to throw this wedge down and hit it up and get it, which would be kind of a mid-handicapper, mid-high handicapper kind of setup, then yes. However, Callaway, and when they had it, it's called the PM grind, and the PM grind had a bunch of rear relief and then heel and toe relief. That thing would flop wide open, i.e. Phil Mickelson. And that one was more for a more skilled player. So they kind of depend. All right, now the Bigfoot high toe is that one that's in the middle. I believe it has just a little bit of relief, so you can open it ever so slightly. And so, yeah, you could probably use it for that type of stuff. Aaron from the desert, dealing with mid-90 temperatures already. Well, you know, where we're sitting in at 60, it's Crimea River, Aaron. But yes, 90s already. That's got to be, even for you guys, that's got to be a big change. For information, Tyler twist exercises with the flex bar can help with tennis elbow. Well, there you go, Krister. Use it weekly, and there you go. Aaron, I saw your stuff, man. Hawaii. I hope you enjoyed your trip. It looked like there were some really nice pictures out there. What do I know or think about? I'm going to call them Nuth clubs, not Knuth clubs. I know about them, Duke. I know enough about them to say I don't know enough about them. I'm not in the habit of saying negative things about golf equipment manufacturers because they're out there making it for a certain people, and that's what it's for. And typically people are held back by marketing or something of that nature. But I do know that they exist, and they do have what was like the hottest club out there or whatever they called that. And if they are and they're doing well, more power to them. Unfortunately, probably their business model and mine just don't jive, and that's the reason why I don't know more about them. All right, Rodney, I butt trimmed an Aldo La Rogue 110 driver shaft by an inch. It's 70 grams stiff. To compensate, should I add weight closer to the tip or the handle? Rodney, it would go towards the tip, not the butt, if you're looking for swing weight. If you've got a 110 and it's stiff, that thing is going to be beastly stiff. It will play more than advertised. So unless the weight is just throwing you off, then yes, down by the tip. If not, just swing it. Oh, I went down a little too far yet again. There we go. Travis Pollard on Facebook. How you doing, Travis? And hey, congratulations to Mike. He finished second in a golf tournament. That's saying something. That counts by one shot. There you go. Oh, Lorinda, my California hookup. She got the towel and an apron with a pink logo. I do have just so you know, in the logo that's behind me here, or this guy, we were talking to them, and they said they had 6 or 7 left to go, and I said, I really like, green or orange or whatever, and anything other than white. And he says, really? He kind of is like, really? You're okay with that? And I said, yeah. So I said, whatever you got, whatever's on the spool, just throw it on the thing, and let's see what I end up with. I ended up with a pink one. And I had a lime green one. I think Mrs. McGolf claimed that one, but we have a maroon, an orange, and a couple of yellows. So if you're interested in a color, we have those as well. And Lorinda, I think the smaller one probably fits you pretty good. Justin from Central PA, how are you, sir? Mr. Calvin, love the Monday. Well, thank you. Thank you. We like having it. It's kind of a break from the monotony, right? It's a lot of fun. Yep, he did. Joe, thank you very much. Yep, he was giving you all kinds of credit for convincing him to show up. 120. Yeah, I'd still say with the 120. They may have a 115 or a 120, but I would check on the wedge shaft still. Mr. Mike, what do you say? How do you handle fitting when a customer plays with Jumbo Max grips? I play with ultralight smalls in all my clubs. Well, that's a tough. I don't have a whole bunch of clubs with Jumbo Max on it, and because they're unique, although a very good grip, and we just kind of have to work our way around the grip. Now, I do have some with mid-size and larger grips on it, so that not every club is foreign, and I can get an idea of how they work for you by letting you swing yours first. We get an idea of how you're swinging yours, and I get to see your motion and stuff like that. And then I look at when we go to the smaller grips, then I check to see how much it's impairing you, and then I kind of throw in a compensation from there. Justin, he wants to reshaft a Jack Nicklaus 3 Hybrid 747 for my son. No luck finding specs. Can you point me to a resource? Nicklaus is still making golf clubs that I'm aware. Probably. You might go straight to the Nicklaus Golf Company and tell them what you've got and ask them what that is. There's only going to be 2 shafts that go in it. One's a wood shaft, and the other one is a 370 or a hybrid shaft. Depending on its age, if it's newer, chances are it's a hybrid shaft. If it's old or older, chances are it's a wood shaft. And then the rest of it, you can find the other specs as far as weight and that kind of stuff. And that's the beauty of doing this. If you're trying to do it, you can always improve on it. Not trying to match it, unless, of course, he was in love with it. You're welcome, John. Pascal Martel, what's up? Which shaft Canadian replaces the Mitsubishi Brasara 42 X5R? Okay, so Martel Pascal. Okay, let's go with that. That's a 42 gram. The X5 CT is a rating. That's how you tell it was a real Brasara in R. So a 42 gram R flex. Now in the Brasara, they made a driver shaft and they made a hybrid shaft. The hybrid shaft came in a 350, and the original one. And so if you're talking about a driver shaft, I would say the 42, you'd have one of 2 choices, particularly Canadian. And I would look into the I series from Acra. They have a 40 gram shaft, and you can get it in R. And they just released the FX 2.0, and you could get it in or get really, really close into their the blue color, which is a little bit higher launch, and you probably will enjoy that. There you go. Leather wrap, man. That's old school, and it's also nice. Mr. Young, or S. Young, bought a Ping 3 hybrid with a CK orange shaft. I am between flex, and I need a firm by playing a stiff. Was the disadvantage? Need a firm. I need a firm. Well, all right. So typically a firm is something that's in between, right? Just like you're talking about, something in between an S and, say, an X. Okay. And that's where the firm comes in. So by playing the stiff, unless you were just totally overranging it, but you shouldn't because you're in between the S and the X, i.e. firm, the worst case scenario is a bit of spraying, and I mean teeny weeny amounts. You shouldn't, unless you're massive aggressive, right? And with the CK orange, you're going to have to be pretty stout to bring it around anyway. So, honestly, unless you got some massively late release, I don't see a disadvantage, right? Because the idea is to play the most flexible shaft you can play, not the most stiff shaft you can play. In a lot of cases. Well, if you need something like that, I can get the quad and I can mail it to you. I don't know what it would be like to ship something to Sweden, but I can get those. In fact, I think I may even have one. So let me know. Golfing with Dad. Thank you for your time. No problem, bud. Do I have a number? Oh, now you're going to make me look it up. Oh, look at that. Mrs. McGolf, text me. Are you done yet? She left early to go out and visit, and I'm here by myself. Let's see if I can help you out right here. As my kids would say, you just got to Google that stuff, Dad. Here we go. Contact. Here you go, man. 1-800-568-3868. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific time. There you go. Look up Billy Bob's Golf on Google. But there you go. All right. Aaron says, Hawaii was fabulous. The pictures don't do the golf justice. Either Mecca if yourself. Yep, there you go. All right. Oh, okay, French. No problem, buddy. So yeah, even with for the driver, it's the same thing. As far as what you're looking for, if you're looking for a very, very close direct replacement, it's really hard. The 40 gram throws it out of whack. In France, it might be easier to come across. Well, there is a UK distributor, and he's in England, and you might be able to touch him over there. And so if you look up Accra Golf, ACCRA, Accra, yeah, ACCRA Golf, and and look up the UK distributor. His name is Lee. Good guy. And you should be able to get that from him. He would be able to help you out with that pick. Going the other way in the world, if you were looking for something, Mizuyaki makes a very lightweight shaft as well that could hang with that. Alrighty. Well, look at that, guys. 6:39. I got down to Martin, and I get one more, and then we are done. How would a teenager get involved in club repair and club building? Jack, as I tell everyone, regardless of their age, get some training. Go to a school, that kind of stuff. And some of that stuff is online, some of it is not. Another one is that if you're near a golf course and they happen to have somebody that does that, get with them and ask a bunch of questions and ask to see if you can help. And that's the best way to do it. There's plenty of books out there to read, and that's how you start and get your confidence and your experience. All right, guys, we have hit the end of the road on this one. Got all the way done. Went to Ireland, went to Sweden, went all over the U.S., and I thank you guys. I just thank you guys a lot. If you're interested in the towel or the apron, send us a note at mcgolfshop@roadrunner.com. Watch for the video that's going to be out tomorrow. It'll be 7 o'clock in the morning my time, and enjoy the video. And as always, let's see your scores go low.